Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking to you all about my journey of becoming a paralegal. I'm not a paralegal anymore, but I still thought it'd be nice to kind of share my journey with you, and yeah, just kind of answer the questions that you guys may have about paralegaling. To give you a bit of background about myself, I currently work at one of the big four professional services firm in their legal department. But prior to that, I was a paralegal, and I've paralegaled at an array of firms. And when I say an array, I've kind of been like all over the place. So I started off in high street firms, and then I gradually worked my way up to a global international big city law firm. That's what you call it, that is what you call it. So the first firm I ever worked at was a high street law firm, and they specialised in criminal defence. And the way that I actually got that paralegal role was I actually applied for a training contract there, and I didn't get the training contract, but they offered me a paralegal role, so I took the paralegal role. And that was basically that. I feel like when you are trying to get a job in London in a high street law firm, it's less formal in that you can pretty much walk in and ask if they have any vacancies, and they may still ask you for a covering letter, etc., but they'll tell you who to address it to. You could also go on websites such as lawcareers.net. I think Roll on Friday sometimes post places, and Twitter's also a good place to kind of look, because law firms, especially high street ones, tend to post their vacancies online. So that was how I got that role. But the real journey then started when I went to another high street law firm and paralegaled there, and this time it was in the immigration department. And the way that I got that was basically through connections. So I had to basically ask people, do they know anybody that is looking for a paralegal in the high street world? And you kind of get to realize that when it comes to law, a lot of it is about who you know. Of course you need to have the grades, of course you need to be able to draft a covering letter, of course you need to be able to look the part and kind of have some technical knowledge, I guess. But a lot of it is down to you using your initiative and you being proactive and you using your contacts if you have any. Now, when I say that I asked around, I didn't know lawyers, right? So my first job was literally for about 6 months, and I didn't really keep in contact with anyone there. I didn't have any lawyers in my family. I didn't have any friends that were lawyers yet. So it was just about asking average people, do you know anybody? Do you know any lawyers? And if so, can I speak to them? Can I get advice from them? Etc. It's just about starting with what you've got, basically. I remember going in, and at this point, I pretty much knew nothing about the way that law firms work. If you had said to me, write me a covering letter, I would have probably had to go on Google and look for a template because I didn't know what to include in it. But that's exactly what happened to me. So I went in and I spoke to one of the people that worked there. Now, again, I think it's very important for me to give you context so that you can kind of understand where I started and then see the journey to where I ended up. So when I worked in this law firm, there was 3 people there, including me. So it was literally one room, and there was 4 desks. I don't know why there was 4 desks, because there was only 3 people there. Maybe it was in case, I don't know, a client came in. But that is the truth, right? So I went there, and she was like, yeah, we'd love to have you, but can you please write me a covering letter and send your CV across to me? And I am like, this is really awkward because I have nothing to put on my CV apart from my 6-month stint of being a paralegal. But then I didn't really, like, if I'm being honest with you, I didn't really learn that much. I don't feel like I was doing that much as a paralegal back then in this criminal law firm. However, this is where I learned that you kind of have to think about the day-to-day things that you do in any job, right? So it could be you being a, I don't know, a sales assistant at Sainsbury's, and you may be giving good customer service, and you've got these skills, these core skills that you need to work in the legal profession, but then it's just about how you kind of convey that to the person that is going to interview you or that wants to basically hire you. So cut it short, it's all about transferable skills. So I was like, okay, right, what did I do? I looked after people's diaries, I welcomed clients, I went to police stations, I drafted letters, I did telephone calls, I took telephone notes, and I realised that regardless of what paralegal role I was going into, those are the fundamentals, so those are the basics that you need. So I put those down, and I basically remember writing my first cover letter. It was just a page, and I just basically stated why I would make a good paralegal and why I wanted to go into law, and it was that simple. And I sometimes feel that when people are applying for paralegal positions, they're overthinking it. Like, we're not applying for a job to be a partner, we're literally, and not to play down the role of a paralegal, because I actually think that paralegals are the basis of a lot of law firms, but we are not applying for anything that requires mad technical knowledge. And sorry for my slang coming out here, but you know, it is what it is. We are just applying to assist lawyers in their day-to-day job. So as long as we can convey on paper that we are the people that can do that, everything should be fine. So keep it simple, basically, and just really think about why you want to become a paralegal. If it's because you want to learn from the lawyers that you're around, then put that down, because everybody loves a trier in the legal profession, trust me. After that, I then started to think, all right, I've done like a year in this, what was coming up to years, like 10 months in this immigration role, this paralegal support role, and I thought, you know what, I've kind of got a flavour for what lawyers do now. I'm actually, you know, I've got experience, and I realised that I didn't want to be in the high street. I knew I wanted to be a lawyer, but I knew that I didn't want to be a high street lawyer. I could just kind of see myself in like the city, and I was just like, okay, I don't even know how to get there, because I felt like I just mastered how to become a paralegal in the high street, but how do I now become a paralegal in the city? I then quit that job, and I decided that if I was going to get a role as a paralegal in a city law firm, that's going to be a full-time job in itself. So I kid you not, I would wake up same time I would as if I had a normal job, and I would sit at my desk from about 9 and I would do applications till about 3. So that was like maybe high school days, I guess. No, not high school days, like primary school days, but it was still pretty much a full-time job. And I was doing that for about a week, and then I started to realize that they pretty much ask you the same questions. It's a bit more formulaic, and a bit more, what's the word I'm looking for, a bit more formal, the process, but once you get the hang of it, it kind of becomes a bit easier. So my main websites that I was looking at for vacancies was actually LinkedIn, and then now I'm going to share my top secret with you guys, okay? This is what I did. I went on Wikipedia and I literally typed out top 100 city law firms in the UK, I think it was, or in the world, whatever it was. And I literally went through them from the top all the way to the bottom, and I would just go on their website. So even if I'd never heard of these city firms before, I'd go on their website, go on their vacancy page, and see if they had a role of paralegal in London. I had about 4 interviews at these city law firms, and interviews were okay, actually. They were just asking me, why do I want to become a paralegal? What experience do I have in the area? And that was always the most awkward question, because apart from academic experience, I didn't really have that much. And then they'd ask me what I thought I could bring to the team. And those generic questions, like if you Google the questions, you'll pretty much see what it is that they ask you. And that's basically the way that I prepared for the interviews for them. But I just kind of want to touch on my CV and the covering letters I put forward, because I feel like when people talk about how they get from A to B. They tell you what they did, but they don't tell you what it includes, and like, whatever, let's just share that kind of knowledge if you've got it. So the way I set up my CV was basically had my name, my address, my telephone number, all of that in the top, and then I don't put personal statement in my CVs. I absolutely hate it. Some people love doing it. I don't, because I feel like everybody says the same thing. I'm hard work and I'm motivated, blah blah blah. So I don't. I just get to the good bits, which is actually, it's not that great, but I then put my academics there, and I list it from the most recent to the least recent. And I know this may sound so basic to some people, but it's amazing how many people do it the other way around. So I put my law school results there, I then put my uni results there, my A-level results there, and my GCSE results there. When it came to GCSE results, I literally just wrote it's 11 A to B or A to C grades, whatever it was, and that's what I did. I didn't list it all out. I then put my work experience there, and one of the greatest tips I learned, and I'll probably do a whole nother video on this, but is to kind of think, when you're doing a CV, the people that are looking at it, apart from HR, are the lawyers, right? And HR, they just want to read something simple. They spend about, on average, I read somewhere that they spend about 30 seconds on a CV. Cool. Okay, so then you get to the people who are actually going to be interviewing you, and they need to be able to talk to you about your hobbies, etc. So they're going to spend a bit more time on your CV, because they're the ones that's going to be making the decision at the end of the day as to whether or not you're going to get the job. So you need to start thinking like them, basically. And like I said, this is one of the biggest tips that I ever received, is to basically put your CV in a way that lawyers like to read other things. So you'll notice that when barristers go to court, they usually make 3 points, right? And that's pretty much how it is in law, like across the field. You have your opening, you then say whatever technical legal jargon you want to use, and you slap that in there, and then you have your conclusion summarizing it. Okay, so basically always put 3 points down. So I did that, and I included everything. I also included all my retail jobs. I had worked in Boots, I'd worked in Sainsbury's, I'd worked in Waitrose, and I think that's it. But I included those down as well, just to kind of show that I can deal with a whole range of people. I can be trusted. At the end of the day, when I was going to a city law firm, I realised that their clients are going to be the people that I worked for. I had the inside knowledge as to how Sainsbury's worked as a brand. I could tell you all about legendary customer care. Shout out all the people that worked out in Boots, and what was it, Waitrose. I could tell you about how they like to treat their employees, which is they basically have everyone as partners. And these are things that lawyers don't really know, but it kind of gives you an edge, because they think, oh wow, she is going to be somebody that clients are actually going to like, because she understands how they work. And even if we don't know that, we can put somebody in front of them who would be able to talk to them and then kind of communicate with us as well. Weird, I know, but that's just the way it works. So that was that, and I got offered 2 paralegal roles from that, and it was so weird because they were literally across the road from each other, and one was in real estate and the other one was I want to say social media. It was a social media paralegal, and it was for a Silver Circle law firm. And you kind of think that I would go with that, right? Because it just sounded more interesting. I think they paid more as well, but no, I decided to go with the other one, and I went with them because of their culture, and I just liked it a bit more. I just liked the people. I liked everybody at reception. I liked the people that interviewed me, and I thought that, okay, confession, right? I did not like property law, but I still took the job, and I thought, even if I don't like it, at least it will give me a solid reason to be like, I do not want to go into property law. I do not even want to do a seat in property law whilst I'm a trainee, because I've already tried it and I paralegaled there and I didn't like it. So anyways, that was basically my journey. So after that, I then moved within the same firm to technology, media and telecoms as a paralegal, and it was transactions and then litigation, and it was absolutely amazing. So that is basically my journey. I started off in a high street firm, I worked my way up, but as you can see, it can be done. I didn't have experience beforehand, I didn't know anybody in the legal profession beforehand, but it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. So yeah, if you guys have any questions on, you know, what it was actually like to be a paralegal, would I recommend it, or just anything, like literally anything to do with paralegaling, then just comment below, because I am going to be doing a Q&A soon on that. But I thought it makes sense to kind of talk you through my paralegaling journey before I kind of do a video on that. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and I will speak to you in my next one. Bye guys.